I was just at lunch with another YouTuber, Texas fans, you will know him as Texas Homer, and as we're sitting there chopping up football, we get the notification that none other than Evan Stewart has decommitted from the University of Texas. Him being a Texas fan wasn't that excited. Me being an Alabama fan and personally having Evan Stewart rated as my number 2 receiver in all of high school football right now is very excited about this. And we need to talk about not only why I'm so high on Evan Stewart, but what this means. And before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. So hop down in the comments and give me a Y for yes or an N for no. And given that I just said that personally I have Evan Stewart as the number 2 receiver in all of high school football, do you believe that he will finish up his career as a 5-star? And let me know what you're thinking there. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, that way you don't miss any of my uploads, because I do constant college football content. Player reviews, film analysis, talk-style videos like this, and I'm on my push to 5,000 subscribers. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and comment down below, because that stuff really does go a long ways in helping content creators like myself get picked up by the algorithm. But with that being said, let's talk about Evan Stewart. And first and foremost, let's talk about what this means for Texas. And while this is never good to lose a commit of the caliber of Evan Stewart, you do still have Winfield, who is another incredibly talented receiver, top 100 guy, and you have to be excited about the prospect of him. Now, that being said, it does hurt to lose Evan Stewart. Now, the one thing I will say, Texas fans, is when I listened and when I saw what Evan Stewart said as a part of his decommitment, that he wants to be able to build relationships with these coaches, he wants to be able to take visits and go to these institutions, it makes a lot of sense. I think we get caught up in this whole business so much that we forget the human aspect of this, that these are 18, 17-year-old kids, and especially in a time where there's COVID, he's not getting the personability of being able to get on campus and really get that in-person relationship going. So I completely understand him wanting to back off of his commitment right now, open it back up, and be able to take those visits. That being said, I still think Texas is in a really good place to land him. Remember, you guys still have Steve Sarkisian, and even though me as an Alabama fan, and I will argue till, high noon, that Alabama is wide receiver U right now, just look at the draft the past few years, and it's been Alabama receivers galore. It's hard to argue right now when Sark is at Texas, because Evan Stewart can look at the film that Sark just used for Devontae Smith and all these other receivers, and he can see how he will be utilized at the University of Texas, because he can be he'll be the guy anywhere he goes. I really do believe he is that talented. This kid is freaky. But now that his commitment is back open, expect for the usual players to jump at this. I'm looking at the University of Alabama. I'm looking at Oklahoma. I'm looking at LSU. I'm looking at Ohio State. Every team in the nation is going to be racing to get to this kid first, and every team in the nation is going to be racing to try and figure out when they can get him on campus and when all that will open back up. I completely understand an individual, especially a 17 or 18-year-old kid, wanting to look at his options, wanting to get to know the coaching staff, because I do think we forget about the human side of this a lot of the times. And this has been very difficult for players in COVID, especially the high school players, because they're not able to build relationships with coaches. And absolutely, we saw this last year, but we have to also be cognizant of the fact that the class of 2021 got to benefit of the years prior, where a lot of those guys got to go on visits their junior year or very early into the whole process. They were able to kind of get a feel for different institutions, whereas some of these guys haven't even been on campus yet, right? Evan Stewart was talking about how he has a bunch of places he's interested in before, and he's got a bunch of places that have offered him, and he hasn't gotten to get on campus yet. And so when you listen to him say that, I still would be very hopeful as a Texas fan that you're in prime position to land him. You have a 5-star quarterback in the class. If you can land some offensive linemen, you'll be very enticing. You have Bijan Robinson, and you just got Blue in this class as well. It's still a very tough sell to recruit against Texas right now for a player such as Evan Stewart. But look for a place like OU or the University of Alabama to come in and try and do just that. Look, this kid, I have no doubt, is going to finish up as a 5-star receiver. He has all the tools. If you haven't seen his highlight tape, go watch it. He is buttery smooth. There's not a whole lot he can't do. He runs really sneaky good routes, and he does it through a different combination of almost a Devontae Adams jump release and then alternating speeds at different points in his routes to throw off the defensive back onto where he's going. He's a very crafty receiver, and he's only going to get better. This is a kid that is going to be one of the hottest commodities in all of recruiting right now. And because of that, Texas will very much well be in play. This is a kid that's going to want to visit other campuses, and I'm very hopeful that my Alabama Crimson Tide can convince him that he would be better suited in that crimson jersey, because let me tell you what, I really do think that he is one of the most talented players in all of the nation, and I've been blown away every time I've watched his film that he isn't a 5-star guy already. I don't think there are too many players, let alone receivers, players in high school football better than Evan Stewart. So while I think that the University of Texas can recover from this, they have plenty of time, and I do still believe that they are in a good position to land Evan Stewart, it's never good to lose a guy of his caliber athleticism, because he is the real deal, and he is going to come onto a college campus with a vengeance and showing people just how talented he is, and I'm very confident of that. But I'm really excited to hear what y'all are thinking. What does this mean for the University of Texas? Do you think they're still in good position to land him? Just let me know what you're thinking down below. I love interacting with y'all in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I don't know what you're waiting for. That's it. See ya.